question on kind of like what's going on and what are you doing? And so actually, I'm pretty much ready to, go ahead and, divulge the information. But I've mentioned it a couple times. I'm moving to the East Coast. I'm going to be working closely with Chris at Dentless Touch. And then also we're going to be working to deliver great quality content, such as live shows here, podcasts, stuff like that. So we've been doing that over the internet for the last year, which has been fun. It was definitely difficult because a lot of this stuff, it's kind of hard when you're, both running businesses and trying to have phone calls and come up with ideas and create content and get stuff over to each other. It's going to be a lot easier now. So I've decided to forego, working in Chicago and actually, moving to Washington, D.C. and going to check out the D.C. area and work really, really closely with Chris here. So I'm pretty excited. It's just been a transition. It's nothing that's super quick, and I think it's just because it's so far away. It's halfway across the country, so it's not like I'm just going down the street here. So I really do appreciate everyone kind of hanging in there for these last couple of shows that have kind of just been, me in a closet per se. That's what it feels like. So I know once I get out there, we actually have a full setup ready to go to deliver like the highest quality we can.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so
and just really get to work on this stuff. So we really appreciate you guys' patience with it.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I left my water outside. Oh well. All right, so let's get into the topic. Is there anything else? Oh, I want to show my shirt from Don from Dentcraft. He has a new slogan. It's already trademarked, guys, so can't take it. But it says "Saving the planet one dent at a time." So this is his new logo. Let me just. Hopefully I don't destroy anything, but
nice.
There you go.
That's actually a really nice shirt.
Yeah, so he gave it to me when I was in Minnesota, which I never thought I would ever go to Minnesota, but very nice area, and he gave me a shirt. Fits very well, very high quality. So kudos to Don for looking out for me here, man. I do enjoy wearing this shirt. If you guys have a company shirt, hey, send them to me. I'll wear it. So, but all right. So let's get into this topic. I have literally a bunch of notes here, Dave. I'm just gonna block out one of my things. So, solopreneur versus entrepreneur, and the reason at least I am going to enjoy this topic is I think with our industry. I would say 90% of the technicians are solopreneur. And what we mean by, at least what I mean by that is, if you have another employee, if he's just a helper, a part-time, or if it's a brother or, family member, then you still categorize as the solopreneur. Do you agree, Dave?
Yeah. I mean, I someone who sets up and runs a business on their own.
Yeah. So they're handling the marketing, the service, the sales, the admin, the bookkeeping, all that stuff. So
everything.
So what's the difference, Dave?
Stress levels.
So you think an entrepreneur has less stress than a solopreneur?
No, I mean, obviously, I think to me, obviously, the biggest difference is having a team and not having a team. Stress levels with both of them. There's stress on both sides. That's kind of a little joke, but yeah, the biggest thing is just either starting the business and running it on your own, or starting this business with the goal in mind to create a team and hire employees to help support and run that business.
Yeah. Now, I see Mark just said he's been solo for 18 years. I want to make sure you guys, or at least we are very clear. Whichever one you do decide to do, it's your thing. We respect everybody and everybody's business. We're all craftsmen at hand, so really to me that's what matters. If you want to run a solo or entrepreneur, but I'm gonna break down the difference here. For me, a solopreneur is labor driven. They are the laboring force. So now an entrepreneur is driven by systems. So they try their best. As now for me, I feel like I am already 2 to 3 years into this entrepreneur transition or wannabe-preneur or whatever they call it. But I have been creating systems over the last 4 years to just streamline the business. And that takes so much effort outside of just pushing. And that's why I think the difference of entrepreneurs driven by systems. It's systems, processes, and people. So without that, to me, that's what categorizes an entrepreneur. And then how well those systems are will determine how your success rate. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a lot more work. um, I think there's a lot more work on the entrepreneur side when you're trying to build that team. You're involving more people, which is just going to obviously involve more work. As a solopreneur, even if you do create like goods and stuff like that, um, there's still I kind of even if there is more work, you're still taking all of it, so you're still having to deal with it.
Yeah.
Regardless of how much you try to simplify the processes, there's always going to be something else that you have to handle.
I was reading Jonathan. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There was a I believe a solopreneur also will make money quicker. When it's just you know how to negotiate, you know what you're worth. It's just so much easier. You don't have to coach the next guy beside you or even train the next guy beside you. So I think you can grow a business quicker as a solopreneur, but you can go further as an entrepreneur.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna
especially
explain it,
especially
but
no, it makes a lot of sense because especially in our industry too, being labor driven, it's a very physically demanding profession. You know, pushing dents,
yeah.
removing either minor collision dents or even fixing hail. It's still labor intensive work. Either standing for long hours or in just weird positions, twisting and pushing and pulling for long hours.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing all of that as a solopreneur on top of your billing, your accounting, your emails, your text messages, your calls coming in. You're making sure that you're going to get to your next stop. There's so many things that have I eaten today that I call the wife. How's the kid doing? I hope everything's okay. There's so many things that are just constantly going on, especially as a solopreneur. Stuff can get really, really stressful. Creating systems around that does help that, but then the next thing that piles on is still the burden of you. Being an entrepreneur allows you to kind of delegate some of those tasks that I just said to other people and allow you to focus on really what is important for the business itself.
Yeah, and I think a solopreneur will stress out towards the end goal because once you scale as a solopreneur, I won't say there's nothing to invest your money into. There are very, very intelligent people out there that, have a future past, PDR, and they just, dumping anything they can into it, whether it be real estate or something like that. But majority of the guys dump it into a lifestyle. And I'm not saying they go out and buy a Bentley or something like that, but they have 3 or 4 kids. The kids are going to the nicest or a nice daycare, and just you are literally putting the money into the lifestyle. Maybe the wife decided to start her own little business or want to work from home, cut down on a little bit of her salary. It just that's the issue with a solopreneur, because then after a few years, you now work for that lifestyle, and so you're going to get burnt out quick. That's just what I think. Like what you said, Dave, all of those stresses are going to come probably by year 3 or 4. You're going to make a ton of money, and you're going to make a ton of money quick. And that's in any field. We're not really just talking about PDR, but if you were an SEO guy and you were very talented with sales, you knew a little bit about SEO. I have friends that are, grossing, $300,000 a year in SEO. And they're on a computer. They don't have to be out in the elements. They're just on the computer. They're eating lunch with clients, stuff like that. So it's kind of funny how, how people just think of where they're at in their career. I feel as though do it for the long term. And if you can go further as an entrepreneur, to me, that's your best bet. We all get tired. I don't want to live for the lifestyle. I want that mailbox check. I think that everybody, or mailbox money or whatever they call it. And I think you can get that is by creating systems, helping more people, and just as the status of an entrepreneur. We talk a little bit about helping people as an entrepreneur. They're always focused on growth and they're focusing on systems, obviously systems and hiring people. So they're able to impact more people around them in a positive light than a solopreneur. That's just my take on it. I think what we do here, Dave, with adding value and just our overall goal and mission outside of just pushing, a clean, den up, is what we're trying to do is just impact anybody's and everybody's life that's willing to watch us. So,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%. I know I had to have a couple harder conversations these last couple of weeks on holders and stuff like that, clients, etc. And a lot of the feedback was, man, I'm really gonna miss you. I loved your work, and they've seen the ups and downs of what I've been trying to build for the last couple of years in the Chicagoland area, and it's been really, really good. And so now there's them knowing that it was really good, seeing that it's kind of about to go away for them, like, it's unfortunate. And I said, well, why do you, there was one account holder, and I said, well, why do you care so much about like who your vendors are? He's like, you just have integrity with what you do.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, thank you, I appreciate that. Like, and it's something that like I knew I already had, because I do like get down on myself with repairs. Like if I don't do a clean one or something doesn't look how I want it to look, like I do get down on myself, and that's like integrity. I want it to look as best as it can. As a solopreneur, you're taking all of that on. Like you're a direct reflection of the work that's provided. Entrepreneur, you're able to help people kind of hopefully develop that same type of integrity for your company.
Right. Yeah. Internally. Yeah.
Delivering those same core values that you possess as the owner. You've trained and coached and implemented systems and processes for your employees that you've hired, your technicians that you've hired to go out and talk to your accounts and perform repairs on customers' cars. You're hoping that they have that same when they go, or if they have to change accounts, or you have to change something within their route, or and it's not working or something like that. You want that account to be upset that your tech isn't going to be there anymore. Like, oh, why are you changing it up on me? We loved so and so.
Right.
He was a great guy, he was a great person, whatever it was. So that's just one thing for me. Like you said, with this, our mission is to deliver obviously quality repairs, but there is more to it. As entrepreneurs, for us, it's about actually helping people, the industry itself, our customers, whoever it may be. Just with when it comes to PDR, we want to make sure that we actually had like a helping hand in bringing it up.
Right, for sure. I want to get to a little bit of the questions, Dave. Looks like Lee, I don't know if he was in the beginning, but if you can kind of give a summary. He asked, can you disclose like your new role and future plans? So if you could just summarize that like you did in the what you did in the beginning, if you can.
Yes. So I actually had a company in Chicago, Windy City Dent Repair, very successful company. Over the last couple of years, though, just seeing what's happening online and just the information that's just can be delivered through, for PDR and stuff like that, meeting with other people in the industry. One of them was being Chris. So I kind of met up with Chris a couple years ago, headed off, and, we've been friends ever since. And now I'm actually getting the opportunity to work with Chris as a COO for his company and come in and help implement a lot of these systems that he already has, and also create new ones to streamline these processes for PDR. On top of but on more to the team to deliver the same integrity like I just talked about to the area that he services.
Yeah,
I get that Dentless touch will service.
Yeah, we will service. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah, so there's gonna be probably a full episode most likely dedicated to that, like how it all went down, what actually happened, how it's actually going, and you guys are gonna see the transition and the fruit, like all of that come to fruition as well. So that's gonna be pretty fun and exciting. Um, and there is another question here too. Someone asked, are we both self-trained, or do we go any type of training? So I'll go first. When I first started this, I was a porter in a body shop. I saw someone pushing on hail, Chance Stevens, out of the Fort Worth area. I forget, I'm drawing a blank on the Texas Dent Company, if I do recall. I don't want to butcher that. I saw him pushing PDR. I said, hey, I want to paint cars. He said, no, you don't. I got training with High Tech for about 2 weeks. I applied with Dent Wizard probably 3 weeks later, got hired on with them. Was with them for a couple of years and started my own company, Windy City Dent Repair. So that's kind of, I had two different companies kind of train me, and then kind of just took it from there. As we've talked about on the show before, the trainings for both companies were both definitely different. One the other, but even after the amount of training that was given by both companies, it was still up to me to really polish the skills and make them what they are today. So I don't know if there's anything else behind that question, but so yeah, I did have training from a company.
Yeah. And I had a local company, Dent Masters, that trained me. You probably know the same company that Paul Corden and everybody were trained. I think Paul was about 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years ahead of me. And yeah, we did the training was different, I would say. I do not train my guys the way I was trained. There's just so much more information you have to kind of pack in 3 months. So, but yeah, that's my deal. I wanted to, before we go, keep going into this topic, guys, if you have any questions, please jump in our chat. This is what makes our show important to us, is making sure that your questions are answered. So we make a conscious effort to make sure that every question that you guys ask during the show is answered. So we like the feedback, we like the engagement. So let's keep it up. You can stop us and ask us any question. We just pick these topics, so we're not just standing there waiting for questions to come in. So, but now, Dave, when you got a solopreneur for about 5 years, you got an entrepreneur for 5 years, I think what a lot of people, at least what I didn't realize until I read a book called Built to Sell. And the question I have for you, Dave, is what is the value differences in each?
Can you elaborate on that question?
Okay.
So
as a solopreneur builds a business, obviously it's them, maybe some part-time staff, maybe some family member. What value do they have in the business? How much is it worth if they go and sell it? I guess.
So yeah, I think we've talked about this before. Solopreneur, it's very hard to sell.
Right.
Unless that brand that you've built is very, very strong. In the end, you are still that brand.
Yeah.
You're by yourself. You're running the entire thing. Who is the brand? What is the brand? What does it deliver? What are you selling? What are you giving a customer? It's yourself. So it's very hard for someone to kind of come in and say, hey, we want to buy you, because it's you. It's not your company. So there are avenues to make money. I think at the end, if there was like some sort of sale or maybe acquisition from a solopreneurship standpoint, and I think it's mostly just related to the brand itself. If it's very strong, with either the leads it generates, the accounts it does hold, the presence in the area of where it, is servicing, those are all factors into the value of it. But at the end of the day, if it's PDR related and you're directly just pushing dents, like that's what someone's going to be buying. It's you and your skill. So the value is for someone else, it's limited.
Yeah.
And then obviously on the entrepreneurial side, if you do have a small team, a big team, any sort of team, that's going to add more value to someone maybe coming in and looking to buy, or if you're looking to sell or something like that. There's things and people that the other company that can utilize. It's not just you.
Yeah. I was exposed to a good friend. He took wanted to take a loan out to do some construction, some growth on the business. I believe the loan was probably over $250,000. But anyway, maybe it was a little bit less. Maybe it was around like 150. But anyway, he's taken plenty of loans, 30, 40, 50 here and there, line of credits and stuff like that. And the bank, or one of the representatives, literally wanted to come see him. And he thought that was completely odd. It's a consulting company. And he's like, I don't understand. You want to come and just have lunch? This is confusing. And so as he's in there having lunch, or, greeting them and having them come to the building, their whole head was on a swivel, trying to gauge how many employees, the size of the company. Should I loan this money? So when you do build systems and when you are helping people and you have employees, you're able to leverage that. I mean, it seems like if he was just in a basement somewhere, they would not have gave him the loan, even though he had, the money in the bank, he had the sales to show it. They wanted to see what's going on. There was I forget which book. I think this is I forget which book I got this from, but he said there was another bank teller or bank loan officer, I would say. He said he would loan money to farmers. And the way he would loan them, it was a simple question. Are you fencing in or are you fencing out for the cattle? And he said, I'm fencing in. He said, you're not growing, you're not getting the money. And people that said I'm fencing out would get the money. That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So it was kind of crazy how he said that literally was a determined fact. Obviously, the numbers had to make sense. They had to make sure they had the credit for it. But other than that, he's been very successful for the people who are expanding and not trying to just keep what they have. So, I don't know. I guess another book, Complacency Kills You. But yeah, now for people who want to go, because I think solopreneurs, much respect. I think it's easier, and a lot of people are doing it. So I think you can kind of do it with just some basic information. I want to help the people who want to make that transition to an entrepreneur, and again, just want to grow the business. I really don't want to emphasize the fact of solopreneur and entrepreneur. We're all entrepreneurs at heart. But for some people who want to build systems and scale, I want to talk a little bit about, what to do. And I think, Dave, you can help as a COO, and you've been building systems with your company. So let's talk about like the first steps. You're out here, you're pounding a payment, you got a little bit of coin, you got some accounts going, you're comfortable, you're not check by check, you got a consistent pay. What's some of the things that they should maybe invest in, whether it be through learning, whether it be finances, stuff like that?
Well, if you're I don't want to say a good solopreneur, but there's certain things that should already be done. Solopreneur or entrepreneur, there's things that should be done already on the back end, just making sure like your whole house is in order, your business is in order, everything is fine. And like you said, so if everything's going good, kind of making this transition from solo to entrepreneur, the first thing I'm going to do, and I think Greta kind of said it here, is find a rookie or someone who knows or actually has like some passion for this, who kind of has maybe been interested, stuff like that. That's going to be the first thing I'm doing, is looking to someone to train to allow me to get some of the workload off. I can still focus on like one of the first things that I'm doing.
You kind of broke up most of it, so can you just summarize that? I think you said the first thing you're doing is just looking for someone to Dave, are
To
you there?
some, yeah,
Yeah.
someone to train, someone to take the workload, the daily workload off of my back, so I can get in there and start building a team, this team that I need, to allow me to step back from actual pushing.
Now, I don't know the statistics on Dent Wizard. I know the statistics on my company, but I don't start seeing profit in the trainee until about 12 to 18 months. So,
And
yeah.
it's so the scenario you set up, which is money in the bank, everything's going good, your
Yeah.
accounts are
Hmm.
happy, everything's going right. So you're at this point where, okay, well, I still have all my routines are set. Like at Monday I go here, Tuesday I go here, when blah blah blah. I work Saturdays too. Like everything is set right and everything's
Yeah.
streamlined. And now you're like, okay, well, what's next? Well, the next step to building this team is going to be finding someone to take that workload off.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at now. I don't know if that's the route you went, but also now that I'm thinking about it, maybe someone handling the back office would be better.
Yeah.
I'm not really, I'm not
Yeah. I
100%
mean, I guess
sure
there's
what
either
would be
way
the
you can
right
do it,
way,
right?
but
And so,
right.
what they always say, you're always scared to hire your first guy. You don't know if he's going to, um, you know, I'm sorry, I'm just listening to Grey Duck what he just said. But anyway, you just I lost my train of thought. But um, the easier way to hire is to hire someone that on things that you do not want to do. And so
Yeah.
if it's back office, I mean, I enjoy pushing. I do not enjoy answering the phone every 5 to 10 minutes. My phone does ring crazy. So someone handles that. Someone handles emails. Don't like emails. And then I just enjoy Instagram when I do have the time. So that's why I always ask people to message me on Instagram. But yeah, that's kind of what I would do differently. Now I hired a technician. It was more of a helper though, and he handled the phone. So he still, because eventually he's going to have to handle the phone. He has to know all of the positions in the business, all the responsibilities as a technician. It's not just pushing. There's customer relations and sales and marketing and all that good stuff. So at the beginning, he was set up to just basically answer the phone when the phone was not ringing. He can jump on a car and push. And this is after the 2 months training that I was sitting in the hood on the hood and stuff like that. So once he got out in the field, it was more of a helper for the next basically few months. So
Yeah.
yeah, that what I would do. Hire for the task that you do not like to do. It's an easy hire. You can easily make sure that they do that job correctly because you know what you want, and you can kind of just make sure that the customer's getting what they need in that aspect. So, but technician's always a good way. What systems do you need to put in place for the first? You should have them in place for the first, but let's say you want to hire 2 technicians a year. Dave, what systems do you think should be in place to allow that scalability? And honestly, I think this is the only way to scale a PDR business. Now, there is subcontractors that you can, scale.
Yeah.
There is businesses that handle subcontractors, but we're talking about an employee-based business. You do need to have a training platform. And Dave, I'll let you elaborate it.
Yeah, I think yeah, so if if you want to bring on 2 employees per year, every year you're going to have some really good tight knit systems in place. Like you said, training being one of them, especially
Mm-hmm.
for a PDR business. Like you said, you didn't start seeing profit off of an employee of 12 to 18 months. You
Yeah.
have to get that going as fast as possible and get these techs, as up to delivering the best they can to their ability at whatever moment in time. So if they're 6-month tech, they're delivering the best they can at a 6-month tech. And when they're 8 months, they're delivering the best they can. Getting these employees and your technicians pushing to the level, their highest level at that time is going to be very key for PDR, just because it's a skill-based business. It does take so long to really start working on some of these complex repairs that bring in some of this big money.
Yeah.
And then Training is going to be huge for that. I think a lot of internal selling, marketing, stuff like that, answering phones, dealing with customers. We've talked about before, we have to think on our feet all the time. Um, your trainee may not be able to do that right away because they're so worried about pushing. So there's a lot of things that are going to be coming into play in those first couple of techs that you hire. Getting that core team solid is what's really, I think, going to allow for like real future growth with PDR, because you're going to need that solid team to be able to push and pump in and just crank out dollars, every day in and day out. Building that core team of 3, 4, 5 guys. Then as an owner of your business, of your PDR business that you built with your own 2 hands, now you're looking for other avenues on, real growth, real expansion within the company, either larger areas, larger accounts, bigger dealerships, body shop chains. There's so many different, really being a preferred vendor for an insurance company if you can. There's so many avenues when you're a little bit bigger of a company, but you're solid. It's going to allow for, I think, bigger opportunities. It's going to allow for bigger opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And again, leveraging, that's always a plus. Now, Jonathan said, Chris, I don't agree with that. I would roll out all his calls to the main number and let them keep pushing. It frees up, I guess, them to take more time and less pressure. I agree and I disagree. The way Dentless Touch is set up, we do have somewhat of a call center that Crystal handles, but they just I don't know. When they are oblivious to what's going on with how we capture the customer or what we tell the customer to schedule, they're unaware. Also, we have different zones. We feel like that is easier for the tech. We try to pick zones that are closer to their house or where they want to live, and then with the traffic patterns. So if we have a call center, I mean, we've tried this literally for a year. If they have a call center, we have a call center. They call in. Crystal sends them little messages and puts things on their schedule. The problem is with that body shop that calls and say, "Hey, I got one. Can you either come look at it or can you swing by?" Too many times the technician was right up the street, but yet it was scheduled for the next day. That just killed the time. Also, she doesn't know really anybody. It's like Johnny from such and such body shop. I mean, she don't know. So there's a lot of wholesalers or a lot of dealerships or a lot of body shops. You can say, oh yeah, you can wait for, they can wait for tomorrow. They're pretty lenient, or when they call, they want it now. So you can't tell them tomorrow. So, I mean, yeah, she'll have a little notebook when she's trying to deal with 4 to 5 technicians. You don't have time for that to go, oh, what is your name? Johnny from, okay, looks like he's always calling last minute. Okay, yeah, Johnny, so we'll get to you, I guess, today. Let me just call somebody. Doesn't work like that. It's just, it just doesn't work. So
and I think it's difficult because when Johnny calls last minute and Crystal is answering the phone, he knows that he's going to talk to her or whatever. But when whoever shows up, say Chris shows up and sees Johnny at the actual location where the car is, that conversation is completely different.
And I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
Well, I just say, and so what happens is your dealerships, your body shops, your wholesalers, this is that threshold that's very difficult sometimes with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs in this little transition here, because they're still wanting Chris.
Yeah, of course.
Because they've had Chris for 10 years or something like that. Now his technicians are going in there. Where's Chris? Where's Chris? Well, no, Chris is the owner of the company. These are his employees. They're here to deliver they're here to deliver the quality, the same quality that Chris has trained them on, and it's just not the same relationship though.
It's not,
that can be,
I
it can be different. It can be difficult, I think, for sometimes that to happen. I know when I've called in other techs to help me, either when I've been out, the owners of the comment, when are you going to get back? When you get back? Because the relationship just isn't there with the guy that I sent. I have that relationship. They just don't. So, a buddy of mine or another tech just went in there and said, hey, what do you got? Here we go. Okay, bye. I'll see you later. And it's not the same. You're able to really keep those relationships nice and tight with your accounts as a solopreneur. Sometimes you can kind of it can get away from you sometimes, I think, as an entrepreneur. And I think Jonathan said here, I think that goes back to retraining the call center. It can be very difficult too to find someone who understands to our lingo and how to talk and what we're actually capable of fixing and what we're not capable of fixing. It's unless you have another tech up there answering questions and
basically
and emails and stuff like that. It's going to be very hard to train someone on what we're actually capable of doing, from like a common sense point of view. Oh, it's a small dent, but doesn't have paint damage. You can't see that in the photo. Like, of course we can't give an estimate.
So what we've noticed also is that, a customer will say, kind of hint what kind of damage they have. And it's something that we can't even fix, but it's in the schedule. And so it just happens too many. Now you can retrain, but like Dave says, at the end of the day, that person really needs to be a part of the paintless dairy, at least pushed at least some point of his life. So the best person to answer my phone call is a trainee, to be honest with you. He understands how to deal with customers. He knows what they're at. They see the high demand. He can track it. Now he's not pushing and with the phone by his ear. The phone does settle down maybe midday and stuff like that. He gets 3 to 4 hours. This is literally when he's on the route, which he's pretty much with me. He's like my helper. So anything that I can throw him, I throw him. But he's still in that transition where he doesn't have his own route yet. But once he gets his own route, the managers, they want to make one phone call. Now, we can retrain all you want, but at the end of the day, they want to know when you can get there because they got the customer standing there and they want to know exactly, can you get there today? And she can use the For My Link app that I have and track all those customers. But guess what? She doesn't know that he's working on a 14-inch dent up the road. So she says, yes, he gets done at 7, and it's a lot of let me call you back, this, that, and the third. When could have got to the actual technician instantly and said, yeah, Johnny, I'm going to be not today, or you can run it up 2 blocks. I can knock it out here, but I cannot leave where I'm at. I have done double the numbers by letting the customer get in contact with me into a certain degree of level. That's just my opinion, but that's where we were at with the call center. Now, what the technicians can do is when they're busy, they can say, okay, Johnny, we'll schedule for tomorrow. Let me put Crystal on the phone here, and then boom, it's a quick transfer to Crystal. Just let her know you want to schedule for tomorrow. Boom. He's already analyzed what type of repair. He will go back into the system and allocate the amount of the time that he needs from what Johnny told him. And it makes it a little simple for the company. I've tried it, Jonathan, so if you have the recipe, let me know. But I spent a year trying to build something with multiple employees helping me with this, but it seems like the technician needs to really be taking those calls.
Yeah, I think it's definitely difficult. In the beginning, with getting that first, second, third employee in PDR, training them yourself on top of running your business as a solopreneur, it is very, very difficult. It is very stressful. Everything is on your shoulders all the time. Any move you want to make, your business is all part of it. If you want to go take the 3-day weekend, your business is a part of that. If you want to go on vacation with the wife and kids, your business is a part of that. You wake up and you are like, okay, what's either going to come at me today that I have to deal with, or what do I have to tackle today as well? So there's a lot of pressure put on solopreneurs. It can get very, very difficult. I think there's a very high statistic of a failure rate with small businesses due to this factor here. Doing all your accounting, your client acquisition, your marketing, your product development, all your business processes, they're all developed and ran by you. It can become a big, deep, dark rabbit hole if you allow it to. So I'm I try to tell people that it's not that serious, just like it's not that
Yeah.
serious. Everything's fine. And just start like really tackling some of these big tasks that will implement your business. There's a lot of tasks that I think that I know I have done in the past that I thought was going to affect my business in certain ways, and it never really did.
Yeah.
Then there were certain things that I know I worked on that, allowed my business to last and
Yeah.
flourish in the Chicagoland area.
Yeah, and to elaborate on the systems things, I want everybody to, with the solopreneur or just doing things by yourself, it's an 80-hour, 100-hour work week for sure, just to get all the tasks that you need to get done with marketing, sales, admin, bookkeeping, etc. I don't want any of the guys to get exhausted. I think this is a very lucrative industry. But maybe incorporate a little bit of some systems, some entrepreneurial kind of mindset, and you don't want to be getting pulled for marketing just because hell just hit. For me, we have systems in place that literally I can do it from my phone when I'm using the restroom and just turn on the ad, or if someone says, "Hey, hell hit this area," it takes me 30 seconds to start running ads that are already optimized for the hail season. And so it's like stuff like that. Create the systems. There's some social media systems, technology. I think this information that we got, with the solopreneur and entrepreneur was probably dated. I do understand what they're saying, but I think as a solopreneur, a lot of companies are trying to target and help out, the solopreneur. So use this in your advantage. Again, Mobile Tech RX helps you out. There's a countless amount of times when I was by myself or just with one guy where their office, their admin person will call me and say, "Hey, invoice 1071. Can you resend it?" It's not a resend next week or resend when you get home. It's resend it now because I'm about to write the check. And if you don't do it, it'll be in next month's check. It's up to you. So it's stop what you're doing, resend invoice 1071. If you're on paper, that's come on. I
Yeah.
just had to, we did.
You're going back to the
Yeah.
truck, or you're calling the
Right.
wife
And
if
you're
it's at
taking a
home,
picture,
or
you're scanning. Yeah.
yeah.
No. And just think about the systems here. I just had a customer today that asked me, say, "Hey, I didn't get the invoice when I left your shop." It was like, "Oh, okay, what's your email?" Copy, paste, boom. He got it. So it took 2 seconds. I didn't have to do it, honestly. Our ops manager did it. But I was still pushing. So there are little systems, social media and marketing systems, bookkeeping. Don't be afraid to hire a bookkeeper. That's stress. I mean, especially if you're not
100%.
yeah,
Whatever you're about to say, I completely agree
yeah,
with.
man. If that's not your strength, man, don't be. How many people I've mentored and they're like, "Yeah, man, this taxes." I'm like, you need to call my CPA because for like
Yeah.
$200 a month, they'll get everything done and you don't pay your taxes. I mean, everything is done.
So
So
there was actually a podcast that I was listening to, and they were talking about remote virtual office assistants.
okay.
And so you set up there's a whole list, with this one company, and you kind of just go through all of them, whoever you had kind of like vibe with the best, tell them what you're looking to have done. And typically they're your personal office assistant all through online. So if you write a check, it goes to them. If you get paid, it goes to them. Like everything goes to them. It's another person who technically works for you and your company, but isn't physically there.
yeah, you give them like a series of
And they
questions
do
to
everything
answer.
remotely. And
Yeah.
and it was like, I thought, wow. And like you said, companies that are being built right this second are thinking of that, people with that goal in mind, solopreneurship in mind, which is really, really nice, because there were certain things that I know weren't available to me even at the time of my starting my business and even thinking about it. So when I saw that online virtual like office assistant, I'm like, wow, like this is crazy. Like, why didn't I think of this before?
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and these are people who are, you're paying them to do what you don't want to do, like we had talked about.
I might have lost Dave there. Dave, you there?
Yep.
Oh, okay. We might have lost you. You were talking
No.
and you just cut out.
Yeah.
It's gonna
It's
change
very
next week,
limited
guys.
over.
Right? Are you gonna be back on this side next week, Dave?
I should be, yes, if everything goes smooth.
Cool. Well, guys, in the show notes, we're going to leave a few articles from Medium, I believe, that Dave researched about these solopreneurs versus entrepreneurs. We want everybody to be successful as they want to be, so that's why we're trying to create topics to help each other, help you guys out. If you have any suggestions on the topics for the show, please message me on Instagram because I don't read emails. But message me on Instagram and I will try to get you in the show. We do have like about 30 different topics that we have to go over. I want to thank our sponsors. We have Blim Tools, Dentcraft Tools, and Mobile Tech RX, guys. Did we go through all the questions, Dave?
Yes, I believe so. Everyone's kind of on the same page, in the chat here. And I know we kind of have all, I don't say walks of life, but everything we talked about, solopreneur and entrepreneur, the guys who do watch live, and after the show as well, and who watch this later, we want to thank you for your support, but we understand too that this transition between an actual solopreneur and becoming this entrepreneur, it's very, very tough. It can be very, very stressful.
Yes.
And there's things that me and Chris have both learned throughout our own journeys that, man, I wish we did this. I know there were things that you infancy as well on routes to take and stuff like that. And it gave me, certain advice. And I was really glad that you said that because there would probably been things that I did that probably would have been detrimental either to myself or the business itself. So, this is why we kind of just come up with these topics. And this one is definitely, I think, an important one.
Yeah. Because I think, we all get into business and we got this vision like, oh, man, maybe I hire employees. I can sit back and just and actually take a vacation, but people don't really.
That's there's a lot involved with that.
2 years I haven't had a vacation. I have over 5 people that work for me. So it's like vacations, but create systems and that's what would allow you to at least take some vacation time and not get burnt out because stuff will just work for you. And, the investment side of it, instead of investing into the lifestyle, which is, I'm at fault too. I like the nice things, but invest back into the business as much as you can with the systems, people, and then obviously the processes and stuff like that. So if any of you guys need any mentorship, as much knowledge as I know, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, just reach out to me or Dave. Dave, has built the company. He has complete access to what we've built here. It's kind of been a mentor to me. Again, reach out to us. We're just trying to add value to the overall industry. When a lot of companies grow, I think the industry will just get bigger and bigger, and I think it just be better for us. So anything that we can do to help, just reach out to us, man. I think we're more than willing to share our knowledge to get you guys on the right, path or the path that you want to. Dave, you want to exit? You want to say something?
Nothing. I just we appreciate you guys, watching every week. We appreciate all the listeners on our podcast as well. If you guys, listen either live, we do appreciate it. Also, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, I think it is, and also Stitcher as well. All these shows are available in podcast format as well. So don't forget to go ahead and subscribe there and check us out if you do miss one of these here live on Mondays. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.
Yeah, guys. See you guys on the next show. Peace.
Cool.